Welcome to the Supplement Engineer channel. My name is Robert Chinetsky. It is with a sad and heavy heart that we come to you today. I'm sure most of you have heard by now, and if you haven't, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you the news that John Meadows, the mountain dog, has passed away. John was an awesome human being. He was beloved not only in the bodybuilding industry, but sports nutrition in general. Gym bros, the science nerds, we all loved him. He was just a phenomenal human being, and this is going to hurt. All of us have known John to varying degrees, and the five of us just kind of wanted to get together and just discuss experiences we've had with John, remember and celebrate the phenom that he was. Lucas, Robbie, Paul, Ryan, thank you guys for getting together on short notice. I appreciate it. It's good to see y'all. Sorry for the circumstances, but thank you guys.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, that's I guess I'll get rolling here. I mean, I met John back in 2016, early 2017 maybe, and he comes walking up in this giant. I mean, very muscular guy, super nice. I had emailed and corresponded with him on emails back and forth when we were discussing the origins of granite. And the first time I see him, I didn't realize how short he was. Super ripped, comes walking up, and it's a giant pink T-shirt with a unicorn on it. I forget what the saying, but John had the most amazing T-shirts of all time. And so he comes up. I'm just this little pissant guy covering supplements. He comes up, spends 30, 45 minutes talking to me before walking into the Arnold Expo. I had him on the podcast 2 or 3 times. And just every time you met him, no matter if it was your first time meeting him or if you've been like a lifelong friend, he always treated you like you were the center of his attention. He devoted every ounce while he was with you. He was, the consummate professional, always just very present in the moment. And you come across those people few and far between in life where they're absolutely genuine. All of their time, they're just zeroed in on you. And you feel like when you talk to him, even if it's the first time, you feel like you've known this guy forever. He's that honest, genuine, forthcoming, just an all-around solid guy. So I don't know. It's Paul, how are you doing? I know you knew John probably the best out of all of us. How are you and the family and the Bullfrog family at large?
Yeah, it's obviously tough. Don't know that it's fully sank in just yet, but I had the luxury of knowing John outside of just supplements or just fitness, and just a great human being, really a role model for myself and for a lot of other people that I know, in fitness, outside of fitness. There were a lot of times where, picking John's brain about things like just balancing work life with family life and being a father on top of, having businesses and trying to find, again, balance in that and do the best I could at, everything, every aspect at the same time. It was great to be able to pick his brain, and not only pick his brain, but see that, in front of me for a long time, for years. So John, his videographer was actually just here a few hours ago, spent most of the morning here. And one of the things we discussed is how he liked to lead by example. So it was really not even just so much picking his brain as it was just watching him, so just watching what he would do on a daily basis, a weekly basis, and how he interacted with people. And truly just, one of a kind person. I think that gets thrown around quite a bit. And I think that the terminology is overused, but truly a one of a kind human being. And it's tough. It's really, really tough. I learned quite a bit from John, and I plan on taking that into the rest of my life and my business life and my career and my the example I want to set for my son. So yeah, it's a hard one. It's a hard one for sure.
Yeah. Ryan?
I'd echo Paul. Like we didn't talk a lot about supplements and fitness. I mean, if I wanted that information, I could consume it on his YouTube channel. When I had a moment of his time, it was more along what Paul said, like how to balance fatherhood, being a husband, running multiple businesses. A lot of people don't know John had his fingers in a lot of different things. It wasn't just granite and, he had a small equity stake in Iron Rebel. Like there's a lot of things that he was doing that could have taken his time in different directions. And I went through some personal stuff, you know, a little over a year. And John was somebody that I turned to for that stuff too. It's like, you know, and on my podcast, he said like he goes to church every Sunday and he leaves it trying to find out how to be a better human being. And I don't know if it's even possible for somebody to be a better human being than what John is and was. Like, I mean, Robert, you and me, we cover supplements. He doesn't need to spend any time with us. Doesn't need to give us time of his day. Absolutely. You know, him and Paul invited me to work out with him down at the Olympia last year. He spent time with my wife, who he had never met before, discussing stuff they had in common. Like, he genuinely cared about people. And very evident by scrolling through Instagram or Facebook yesterday, people who never met John, right, were posting their condolences. And, you know, if you didn't post something on John, it's shocking to me, especially if you're in the space, because he's impacted, you know, without even meeting him, he's impacted people. And now, you know, I thought about Paul yesterday a lot, and I texted you, Paul, and I said, like, hey, you know, like, I can't imagine, like, John and I were not best friends. Paul and John were pretty damn close, right? And so I can't imagine, Paul, what you're feeling. I can't imagine what, you know, Mary and Jonathan and Alexander are going through. And that was one thing too. He mentioned on the podcast, it's like he can't imagine leaving this world and his two sons behind. And it kills me to think about that, because I have two daughters, and Paul, you have a son, and just what is important in life, or what we think is important, especially when running businesses, in the scheme of things, it doesn't mean anything. Like, family is the most important thing. And that's obviously the biggest thing that I take from John, is like prioritizing what's actually important in life, and everything else doesn't matter.
Yeah, 100%. Robbie?
Yeah, I've run a couple of times for the past couple of years, but we've never really spoke till about 3 years ago. And I ran into him, and actually with a mutual friend who knew him better than I did. I said hi, and that's about it, because, like I said, we never talked before. And then he goes to me and says, "You're the Palm guy." I'm like, "Yeah," I said, "I am." And he started talking to me, and we literally talked at the expo for about an hour about like different things. I'm like, fuck, I just met this guy. I don't even like, and you know how I feel about the whole community and stuff like that. There is a lot of very unpleasant fake people, unfortunately, but I guess it's in every industry. And John was the exact opposite. He fit into that like small percentage of people that was so genuine, so real, and he would make you become an instant friend. You know, I mean, we kind of like hit it off, but I think that it doesn't make me any more special than anyone else. I think it's him, because he was able to make me feel comfortable around him. I mean, he was a bigger than life persona when it comes to bodybuilding. Maybe he wasn't an accomplished bodybuilder per se, but nobody can argue with the fact that the guy had heart. I mean, he literally had heart, and he went after his dream, and he achieved his dream. And I'm happy to say that I was actually present when he won the pro card at the Team Universe. I was there, and I witnessed it, and I mean, people were congratulating him as if he won the Olympia. But everybody was so genuinely happy for him. It was absolutely incredible. And then I ran into him at my friend's Patrick's Aris Nutrition, maybe a year later or something like that. And he approaches me and he goes, "I'm actually upset with you." I'm like, "What did I do?" And he goes, "Well, you had the All-Star seminar and I wasn't invited." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes to me, "I'm really upset." He says, I would definitely like to attend." I'm like, "Okay, you're invited now." I said, "Are we cool?" He goes to me, "Cool." He goes, "Now I feel better." And unfortunately, the fucking pandemic, and it was just so interesting because we actually exchanged a few messages in the last few weeks about him coming to this year's event. And, we ended up talking about not just supplements, but we actually ended up talking about the fact, like, clearly even though I'm involved with bodybuilding community, but I don't come from a bodybuilding background. And we talked about, how supplements affect different sports and what's required for one sport and another one. It got very, very scientific, but at the same time, so simple how he would break down everything what John was. And I said, couple of years we talked more and more, but everything with him was simple. Nothing was complicated. Whether it's supplements, he would not go scientific to make you feel like you're an idiot and you don't know shit. He would actually simplify everything and explain to you. And at the same time, if you talked about different, I'm Jewish. I mean, he would go to the church every Sunday, and we would talk about religion. We had a few discussions, and it was on such, you know, high level. There was, I think last year during Rosh Hashanah, I get a message from him, Happy Rosh Hashanah. I'm like, what the fuck? Where is this coming from? But that was John. He made it simple, and he made it very, he was a humble man. And I think that that's how we should remember and celebrate him for the man that he was. He was much more than a guru or a trainer or a bodybuilder. He was just all around a good human being, which is very, very rare these days. And we can. I'm pretty sure there are people who would say negative things about me or any one of us. I'm yet to meet anyone who would say one negative thing about John. He was like, like. um, like that show, Everybody Loves Raymond. Everybody don't love John. That's just the persona that he was. And I think that's, rather than the douchebags that are speculating as to why, how, and what, just celebrate the man he was and remember him for the contribution you know, that he contributed to this sport of bodybuilding, fitness, the knowledge that he brought, and just the heart. Heart, not just when it comes to training, but heart when it comes to knowledge, heart when it comes just to treating people as equals. And that's the way I'm going to remember.
Lucas?
I'm probably gonna be, least spoken person here, because I never met John in person, and I live in Poland, as you guys know, so miles away, from US. So I never shook his hand or spoke with him in eyes. But you know what? Every time when I have heard the slogan "Hi everybody," on the YouTube channel, I was smiling, when my face was always like super happy to hear his voice, and I always remember him from his Q&As and so on. But the best part of it was like 2 years ago, I believe. We spoke through Facebook. I think he reached out to me because he wanted to do some business, in Europe. As you guys know, I represent Prometheus, and we had some plans, about taking his brand under our wings, but it was like a long discussion. But anyway, past year my mom was diagnosed with cancer, and he was probably one of the first person that reached out to me and said, "Hey Lucas, if you need anything, just let me know, and be well. My prayers are with I will be praying for you and your mom and so on." And I remember like a few months ago, he reached out and he just asked because he saw me posting a picture of my mom and saying that she's cancer free, and he was like super happy about the news and so on. And yeah, we briefly talked, and he was like super excited about everything, about his plans, about his health, that everything is going great for him, after the first accident with his heart. And he was also spoken about the Keon cooperation, the Olympia, how many athletes he will have, and so on. So I was very excited for him. Yeah, so this is just like devastating news for me, and he will be greatly missed by me. And I never met him. Paul, he was probably his best friend, and he can speak a lot about him more than me. But from my standpoint, all I can say is that this guy was a class act, and much love for him, his family, and my sincere condolences for his family.
Yeah. It was somebody that he transcended bodybuilding and, you know, reached across multiple avenues, kind of like Ryan said. He was in various businesses with everything, but universally he was respected and liked. I don't think I've ever heard somebody say something negative about John in any kind of interaction or dealing or whatever. I mean, he just the kindest, gentlest guy. He definitely will be missed. Paul, do you know if there's any kind of, if there will be like a memorial or some kind of donation funds, anything we can do to support the family?
I think it's soon. I think a lot of it's being talked about. I can definitely let you guys know.
Yeah, please do.
I think one thing to take away, I think everybody here made a lot of really good points. And, you know, what I took away is that, you know, when you talk to John, a lot of times the conversation was about you and not about him. I don't think he's one of those people that likes to steer the conversation toward you and away from himself. And whatever he could do for you is what he liked to talk about and what he liked to focus on. And, you know, Robert and Ryan, you guys both talked about, you know, you guys just cover supplements, but I know he had a lot of respect for both of you guys. Ryan, I know he was really proud of you with what you're doing. You know, so I think that there's a lot that can be taken away, a lot that can be learned, you know, to have the business mindset, and not just the business mindset, but just the mindset in general of a human being, you know, focusing on others and not focusing on yourself. And I think that everybody here made that point, and I think everybody here is correct on that. And I think that's a big takeaway that John would want us to have with how he lived his life.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to say that I have to go and pick up my daughter from the camp, but you know, it's customary where I come from to express condolences to the next of kin and, you know, and family members. And of course, you know, Paul and I, unfortunately, meeting for the first time, I guess, under not the best circumstances. But Paul, I know how close you were. So I just want to extend my condolences to you, because I know how close you were, basically like a family member, you know, and obviously to John's family as well. And, you know, stay strong. Appreciate everything that you guys, you know, put out there, you know, on Instagram and everything. I followed very, very closely all the content. It was absolutely amazing. And hopefully that will continue in John's memory. And like Robert said, you know, if there is anything we can do to contribute any way, shape, or form, please let us know. We'd be more than happy to. And again, I mean, John will be sorely missed, guys.
Yeah.
Well said, Robbie. Thanks, man, for hopping on. I know this was impromptu.
Thanks, man.
Hey, guys, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, Rob.
Bye.
You know, Paul, I wish what they would have had at the Olympia this year is obviously the photographers, you know, pay attention to what's going on stage. But when Missy won the Olympia, the smile on John's face, like, I mean, I can imagine he smiled like that probably several times in his life, as, you know, day of his wedding, birth of his kids, but he was elated. Like, he was so excited for her. You know, it was, I didn't even look at the stage. I turned around and I looked, Paul, I think you were sitting with him yeah. And I turned around and just watched John's face, and he was pacing back and forth. And then all of a sudden, like, they got the right call, right? Like they initially said the wrong winner, and then they corrected it. And he, like a little kid. I mean, it's just so happy for him, because John never got a chance to walk the Olympia stage. He did the Arnold, but his love for the sport and his love for his athletes, like, they weren't just athletes to him. They were, and you could even, it's a custom. If you go to Instagram and you see the post from his athletes, John was a best friend. Like, he was a family member to me. So I think, again, and even when I was on my first prep, my trainer trained under John, and the same thing. Adam Bisick is a kid in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Never really met John once, but, you know, just a number to a lot of people, right? But John treated him like a family member, like treated him like he mattered. And it was his athletes, it was his friends. And that is so rare. And that's why he's such a genuine, good human being. And that's what everybody, like, needs to take away. Like Paul said, it was always about, the only time I could get John to talk about himself was to get him to come on my podcast. Otherwise, it would be about me. And it's like, I want to know about you, John. And so I had to schedule time on my podcast to get that. But that's how great of a person he was.
Yeah, 100%. It's, I mean, in addition to the podcast, kind of like you, Ryan, I mean, I'm sure y'all had offline conversations either through texts or phone calls and stuff. And I'm continually amazed by the time he would just open up, I mean, this is a guy that could charge me like $100, $200 an hour just to talk to me about anything. And he's calling just to ask me, how are things going, or get my input. And he would say, oh, I want to send you this. I'm working on a new pump formula. I'd like to get your input. I'm thinking, I know he's got PhD, like he works with Dr. Lopez and a bunch of other people. And you want to throw something my way he was willing to learn from anybody and everybody, no matter their experience, their age, what area of life. He was just somebody that was a consummate learner, but at the same time, he was always there to just be there and just be a shoulder, or that you could lean on, an ear that you could talk into, or just something. It's going to be kind of like Paul, and I don't know John to even one iota of the degree that Paul does, but to just the loss that this is for the industry and just humankind and nature. I mean, it sucks. That there's no other way to say it. John was a force, and he's going to be missed.
Yeah.
But hopefully he's looking down on us above. I know, like y'all said, he goes to church every Sunday. Sandy and I are Catholic, so whether you're religious or not, hopefully John's looking over all of us and can continue to impart his wisdom in some way, shape, or form. So,
For sure.
Any other closing remarks, guys? I don't want to keep y'all too long.
Thanks for everyone's input, and let's keep in touch and stay strong, guys.
Absolutely.
That's my standpoint. And to John's family, like I said, sincere condolences, and hopefully we can do something for I don't know, for Mary or for his kids. If there's a way that we can support them, just let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate it. And Paul, keep me posted. We can connect offline and about everything, setting up any kind of memorial or what funds they're established and whatnot. But thank you guys for everything, and thoughts and prayers to the entire Meadows family.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Robert.